Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop and I'm out here in the heavenly backyard garden, and things are looking pretty good right now. The daylilies are just about done, but the dahlias are still blooming and they're going to continue to bloom. However, it's been quite hot out here. Not as hot as it has been in other places in the southern United States and also in other places in Europe where the heat wave out there continues as well. Meanwhile, this is the middle of July, and July, August, and September is when the Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way is moving straight overhead during the nighttime hours, particularly after midnight. And there is just so many targets to shoot from. And a lot of these nebulae are wide angle shots that you need. Now I have the Orion Eon 130 millimeter refractor triplet telescope, and it's a fantastic telescope. However, it's at f7 right now with a focal length of 930 millimeters. Now I can get some great targets with this telescope, but I wanted to get more wide field objects. I could put the reducer on, which I'm going to do later on tonight and tomorrow. But however, that'll take it down to about 800 millimeters on the focal length, maybe 750 to 800 millimeters on the focal length. Widens it out a little bit, but not what I want. I want some wide targets. The other night, actually it was in late June, we've had a lot of clouds at night. In late June, I was shooting the Cocoon Nebula, and the nebula itself looks great all by itself, but there's this dark vein of dark matter that extends away from the Cocoon Nebula, and I wanted to get that in the shot as well, but it just didn't fit in the frame of view. And then another object that I really love to shoot is the North America Nebula and NGC 7000. And it's high up in the sky now at midnight. And for my location, it's up for 7 hours now during the nighttime hours. Yeah, I do get 7 hours of darkness even in July here at my latitude in Savannah, Georgia at 32 degrees north. Anyway, I wanted to get that wide field of view. I can get the Cygnus wall with this scope here, no problem whatsoever, and that's a fantastic shot in itself. But I want the whole nebula, and I also wanted to include the Pelican Nebula, which is right next to it. So how do I do that with this telescope? I can. There is a way of doing this, and I use Nina to make a mosaic. So let's see how I did that, and let's go upstairs where the air conditioner is on, and we'll take a look at the last few nights of the Cocoon Nebula and the North America Pelican Nebula NGC 7000. This is Heavenly Backyard Astronomy, and I'm Pat Prokop. All right, I'm inside right now. The air conditioning is definitely working. Boy, it's getting hot and humid out there. Anyway, let's talk about the astronomy. Here I have Nina open right now, and this is the Cocoon Nebula, and this is the view, the field of view that I get with the telescope, the Eon 130 millimeter refractor at f7, and it looks good. I mean, that's a good little target. But over here, to the right of this object is this vein of dark matter. As a matter of fact, it goes out beyond this area here. So what I want to do is I'm going to expand this field of view by going over into the horizontal panels here in Nina and just click on the panel there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it over to here. I'm going to put the nebula in the lower corner here. And this is the view I want. Let me load that image back in. And while it's loading, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. You can buy me a coffee if you'd like. Anyway, here we go. Almost. Now, there. Can you see it right there? Let's zoom in a little bit and see what happens. It's this area right here. I'm looking for this vein. I want to get this vein of darkness along with the nebula itself. So to do that, I need two different field of views, or a mosaic of two different shots. And then what I do in Nina is, if that's what I want, and that is, I'll go over into Add Target to Sequence. And as soon as you do that, I'm just going to use the simple sequence because it's well enough for me. It puts in two different targets here. It's Cocoon Nebula number 1, panel number 1, and then panel number 2.
So it's ready for the panels, and then what you do is just set your target times and your exposure time and the total number of exposures you want, and just say go, and Nina does the rest for you. All right, let's take a look at that first of all. All right, let's take a look at the Cocoon Nebula. First of all, this is panel number 1 right here, and this is panel number 2 right here. There you can see that dark vein over in this area to the right of the nebula I put right over in here. Now, let's look at the combination of the two, and I put them together. There you can see I stitched them here, and they got the nebula here, star field off to the left, and that vein of dark matter off to the right. And then after passing it through Photoshop, bringing out the nebulosity in the Cocoon Nebula itself, and there you can see that vein of dark matter. So that's the process I wanted to get. But how did I get this? So let's take a look at that. Now, let's go back into the Sky Atlas, and let's go into the North America Nebula. There it is right there. And once again, I'm going to go into the target over here, and let's just bring it back to where it was. And there you can see that target there. There's the wall. If I want to get the wall, that's nice in itself. I mean, a lot of people like to shoot the wall because they don't have the wider field of view to shoot otherwise. And over here is the Pelican Nebula. And then here is basically North America. United States and Canada over here. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go into panel 1, 2, and 3 and 4. There I have it right there. And I can bring it down so I can get the wall. I don't want this bright star over here. Let's just get it down over here. Bring it over a little bit more. And now I got the Pelican Nebula, the North America area. There's Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, and Mexico. There's the Cygnus Wall right there. And I'm ready to go. And once again, the same thing. I just hit add sequence to add target to sequence, and sure enough, it will just do that in itself. Now, there's the first two, the Cocoon, and then for the NGC 7000 or the North American Nebula, I have panel 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so let's do that, and let's take a look at some of the proceedings from the night before. Well, here's a look at my guiding. It looks pretty good for this evening, considering I have some high thin clouds passing through. There you can see it at 0.73. That's not too bad, but there you can see the fluctuation in the sky cover with some passing clouds. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that right now with the satellite imagery. And I can bring it over here. And there it is right there. There you can see I am located right there. And that is where we're seeing the thin clouds passing across the area right now. But nonetheless, because of that, I'm still getting some decent imagery. As you can see right here, let's take a look at the last couple of images. Image history. This is panel number 1. Let's take a look at the last hour, or last 5 minutes. And yeah, this still looks pretty good. What about the stars? Are they round? Yeah, they're pretty much round. I'm on the edge here. Let's go in the middle. Let's see here. Again, this is the upper left panel, panel number 1. You don't see much detailed. You can see a little bit over here where the wall is down under here. Well, that'll be coming up in an hour and a half from now. But anyway, that's what I got so far. So let's take a look at the North America Nebula, and I used 4 panels as we just saw in the setup over here. This is panel number 1. That's how it comes in. So I'm going to do a screen transfer function right now, real quickly. There is scene number 1, panel number 1. Here's panel number 2. I'm going to stretch it off a little bit here, and do that. And that's the portion of the Pelican Nebula right there. Going to panel number 3, this should be the Cygnus Wall. Again, just doing a screen transfer function. And going to close that and go back to here. And this is panel number 4. the bottom portion of the Pelican Nebula. All right. Now, the next thing that I do, other than going into the automatic background extractor, I did that on all of these. And then I go into here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is over here. And this is how I do it. I'm going over into the scripts, going into Easy Process Suite, and then go into Easy Process Soft Stretch. And there we go. And these are the settings that I set up. You can play with whatever setting you want, but once you have it set, leave it alone. And then I'm just going to, and make sure you also have 0 in white point checked on. Make sure that's on. That's important. All right. Run the Easy Stretch. And there it is right there. Going to minimize that. Do the next one. Again, go to Scripts. Go to Easy Processing Suite. Go through Soft Stretch. Run it. Run the script. Let's just do one more. Let's do the wall right here. Again, Script, Easy Process Suite, Easy Process Soft Stretch. Again, just use the same values as you use in all of them. That's important. All right, this way they're all going to be more or less equalized. All right, there's the wall. Now, all right, the next thing you do is you save these files as TIFF files in 16 bits. So you take one here and you go File, Save a Copy, and call it whatever you want. It's Panel 1 right there. Okay, call it Panel 1. And then important, save it as a 16-bit unsigned integer right there. That way it'll open up cleanly in Photoshop. And you do this with all of the different images that you have. All right, so from that, let's go into Photoshop and stitch these guys together. So we go into Photoshop over here, and first thing you want to do is go to File, and then go down to Automate. Do you see how I got there? New, all the way down to Automate. And then from Automate, go to Photo Merge. There it is right there. And you'll have a little window open up. And you got choices of files or folders. We're going to choose the file. You're going to Browse. And I'm going to find those files that I saved. And here they are over here, the files that I want that I saved. Panel 1, this is I call it the second pass. I'm holding down the Control key. Panel 2, Panel 3, and Panel 4 right there. Open up those, and they should be listed right here. There are your panels. Now, next thing you do is come down to here and make sure Blend Images Together is clicked. And you can also click on these two guys over here, Vignette Removal and Geometric Distortion Correction. Click on those and just say, OK. And then let Photoshop do its thing. And it will load in the images. And from there, it does its background work in the background. I'm doing real time here to show you how kind of fast it is. It's pretty fast. It's doing its thing. It's aligning the layer panels together, all 4 of them. Of course, if you had 2, it would be much quicker. If you have 6, it'll be much slower. But I have 4 panels here making the mosaic. And it's just about done. It's blending the selected layers. Now it's creating a seamless composition. Let's see how just seamless this is. All right. Looks pretty seamless to me. Now you can see the seams right there. If you click on these layers here, you can see that's the upper left, Panel 1. This will be Panel 2. You can see right there, Panel 2. And then Panel 3. That's the one with the Cygnus wall. And, of course, Panel 4, the lower portion of the Pelican Nebula. Now, you see this stitching panel here in different areas. Now, once you make sure all the files are selected, you can right mouse click and then go down to Flatten Image. Now, watch this area here when I hit Flatten Image. Right there. And it goes away. Nice clean image. There you have it right there. From here, you can save it as a TIFF file once again, a 16-bit, then reintroduce it back into PixInsight or just go stay in Photoshop. You can manipulate it and so forth and so on to get the view the way you want it. And from there, now I got the views that I wanted at the end of this video. So let's go back outside where it's hot.
This is the reducer. There goes the cap. This is the reducer built for this telescope, the Eon 130 millimeter triplet refractor. And I'll be assembling this a little bit later. And this will give me a nice wide field of view, and hopefully, and it does give you clean stars all the way from one edge to another and top to the bottom. So I'll be putting this on, and I'm going to be shooting these same targets and making more mosaics, see what happens with a wider field of view and these flat edges. So we'll keep that in mind. Well, I hope you found some value in this video. You know, it's nice to know that you don't need a wide field telescope to get these wide field shots. I used Nina to get the Mosaic view, and I think you can do the same thing with Sequence Generator Pro and other astronomy software. Anyway, it just opens the window for that much more astrophotography. And sometimes, particularly with the Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way, you got so many targets out there to shoot from. The Omega Nebula, the Lagoon Nebula, the Trifid Nebula, all these you can get together. Of course, you got M16, the Eagle Nebula with the Pillars of Creation. So with the Pillars of Creation, you want a close-up view, but you also want that wide field of view to see the structure of the gases and so forth associated with the nebula. Anyway, if you would like to help support my channel, I have now a Patreon link right here below. You can look at that if you desire to help support the channel. And also, if you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee. You know, I love my coffee, except it's kind of hot right now to be drinking coffee, but I still do drink coffee in the heat. There's a link to the coffee right there. And of course, if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button if you would like to subscribe to my channel, so you'll be informed by YouTube when I post new and upload new videos to this channel. Also, I have another channel right next door on the Heavenly Backyard, the Heavenly Backyard Garden. It's called Pat's Weather and Nature page, and I have this video right here showing the garden. It's a virtual garden tour. I think you might like it. Anyway, I'll have a link to that as well to the bottom. The Heavenly Backyard Garden is looking pretty good right now, even though it's hot. Anyway, once again, I hope that you're able to see these targets and maybe expand your field of view just by using the software that we have available. So with that in mind, yeah, I'm going to say, unless you need rain, clear skies, everyone. Maybe a little bit cooler temperatures as well. Okay, see ya. Oh, one more thing before I go, I'm going to need to cover up the telescope because I'm expecting more rain this afternoon in the form of showers and thunderstorms, and I have this ritual of covers that I use to cover up the telescope to protect it. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, this scope has been out here now for 3 years, and I don't take it inside. I leave it outside. Now, I do disconnect the camera and bring that inside with me, but I just cover it up with this towel. Cover number 1, an insulated cover, and then cover number 2, which is this creamy white, heavy canvas type cover, insulated cover as well. And that protects the scope. It's doing a great job. So, yeah, cover up your scopes and protect them during the adverse weather conditions.